This bracelet has been passed down through generations. May it bring you as much happiness as it has brought us.
Con cảm ơn mẹ.
May you both find lasting love, joy, and prosperity together. Be happy.
Thank you, Mother.
Thank you.
This belonged to my mother. It's for you now.
Oh, thank you. I'll cherish it.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Hello, dear viewers. Today's story is a touching journey of Huyen and De after their marriage. In a warm family gathering, Ba Sum, De's mother, gifted the couple a treasured family heirloom that had been preserved through many generations. This keepsake was not only a meaningful memento, but also a symbol of love, trust, and heartfelt guidance about marriage, responsibility, and lasting unity. Huyen and De cherished it deeply, treating it as their most precious gift, a bridge connecting the past, the present, and the future of their family. If you enjoy warm, emotional, and meaningful family stories like this one, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a comment to share your thoughts. Your support is our greatest motivation to continue bringing you more heartfelt stories that touch the soul. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next videos. After Huyen and De were officially married, the house they shared seemed to breathe with a new warmth, as if the walls themselves had learned the meaning of family. That evening, when the last guests had left and the sounds of celebration softened into quiet laughter, Ba Sam, De's mother, asked the two of them to sit beside her in the living room. The light was gentle, glowing from a small lamp that casts long, tender shadows across the floor. There was something different in Ba Sam's expression, calm, affectionate, yet carrying a gravity that made both Huyen and De instinctively straighten their posture, sensing that this moment would stay with them for the rest of their lives. Without a word, Ba Sam rose slowly and walked toward a wooden cabinet that had stood in the corner of the room for as long as Dad could remember. From its lowest shelf, she carefully took out a small, time-worn box wrapped in an embroidered cloth. The fabric was faded, the stitches slightly uneven, clearly made by hand many years ago. As she returned to her seat, her fingers lingered on the cloth, gently smoothing it as if she were touching the past itself. When she finally placed the box on the table between Huyen and Ze, the room fell into a respectful silence. Ba Sam began to speak softly, her voice steady but filled with emotion. She explained that this box held a family keepsake, something that had been passed down through generations, entrusted only to those who truly belonged. It had witnessed marriages and births, separations and reunions, moments of joy and times of hardship. This, she said, resting her palm on the lid, is not just an object, it is our family's memory. As she spoke, her eyes moved from De to Huyen, lingering on Huyen with a tenderness that carried acceptance and love. In that look, Huyen felt something profound, an unspoken confirmation that she was no longer merely a daughter-in-law by name, but a daughter of the family in every sense that mattered. Dad listened quietly, his chest tightening with emotion. He had known of this keepsake, of course, but he had never imagined the day would come when his mother would choose to pass it on. Seeing Ba Sam offer it now, not only to him, but equally to Huyen, made him realize the depth of her trust. This was her way of blessing their union, of acknowledging that their marriage was not just a bond between two people, but a continuation of a family's legacy. When Ba Sam gently pushed the box toward them, Huyen instinctively reached out with both hands, her movements careful and respectful. She bowed her head slightly, overwhelmed by the honor being given to her. Dad placed his hand over hers, steady and reassuring, as if to say that from this moment on, Everything they carried, responsibility, love, and memory, they would carry together. Ba Sam smiled then, a soft, relieved smile, knowing that what she had protected for so long was now in the right hands. In that quiet room, surrounded by ordinary furniture and familiar walls, an extraordinary passing took place. It was not marked by applause or ceremony, but by trust, love, and belonging. For Huyen and De, that moment became the true beginning of their life as husband and wife, rooted deeply in family, tradition, and the promise of continuity. When Ba Sam slowly lifted the lid of the wooden box, time itself seemed to pause. The faint creak of the hinges sounded unusually loud in the quiet room, as if announcing the unveiling of something sacred. Inside lay the family keepsake, simple in appearance, yet radiating a quiet dignity that immediately drew the eyes and hearts of both Huyen and De. It was clear that this was not an object meant to impress by wealth or extravagance. Its value lived in the stories it carried, in the hands that had once held it, and in the love that had protected it through generations. Ba Sam's voice softened as she began to explain its meaning. She told them how this keepsake had been present at important turning points in the family's history, kept close during times of uncertainty, taken out during moments of hope, and returned to its box after each chapter, patiently waiting for the next. It had belonged to De's grandparents, then to his parents, quietly witnessing vows spoken in trembling voices and promises made under both joy and sorrow. Every family has something like this, Ba Sam said gently, not because it is rare, but because it reminds us who we are and where we come from. Huyen listened with deep concentration, her eyes never leaving the keepsake. As Ba Sam spoke, Huyen felt as though she were stepping into a long, unbroken line of women who had once stood where she stood now, nervous, hopeful, determined to love well. A warmth spread through her chest, mixed with a sense of responsibility she had never known before. This was not simply a gift to be admired or displayed. It was a reminder that marriage was built on patience, sacrifice, and the willingness to protect one another even when life grew heavy. Ba Sam then turned directly to Huyen, her gaze steady and kind. She spoke of marriage not as a fairy tale, but as a journey that required endurance and compassion. There will be days when love feels easy, she said, and days when it feels like work. On those days, remember this keepsake. Remember that many before you have struggled, endured, and still chosen to stay together. Her words were not a warning, but a blessing, honest, grounding, and filled with hope. De felt his throat tighten as he watched Huyen absorb every word. He had always known his mother to be strong, but in that moment he saw a different strength, one shaped by years of loving, forgiving, and holding a family together. He reached for Huyen's hand, his fingers closing around hers with quiet certainty. In that small gesture was a promise that he would walk beside her through ease and hardship alike, honoring not only their love, but the legacy now placed in their care. With great care, Huyen lifted the keepsake, holding it as though it were fragile glass. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of meaning it carried. She nodded, unable to speak at first, then finally whispered her gratitude. In her eyes shone both emotion and resolve, a silent vow that she would cherish not only the object, but the family and values it represented. Ba Sam watched them, her expression calm and satisfied, knowing that the lessons carried by this keepsake would live on through them. In that moment, the gift fulfilled its purpose. It became a bridge between generations, binding the past to the present and guiding the future. For Huyen and De, it marked a deeper understanding of marriage, one rooted not only in love, but in shared responsibility, respect, and enduring commitment. From that day forward, the family keepsake became an inseparable part of Huyen and Dae's life together. They did not lock it away out of fear, nor did they display it as something to be admired by others. Instead, they chose a quiet, meaningful place in their home, a small wooden shelf near the window where the morning light would gently touch it each day. To them, that spot felt right. It was a place of calm and reflection, a reminder woven naturally into their daily lives rather than something distant or untouchable. In the early days of marriage, when everything still felt new and slightly uncertain, the keepsake offered a strange sense of grounding. On mornings when Dae left early for work, Huyen would sometimes pause before it, her thoughts drifting back to Ba Sam's words. She began to understand that this gift was not meant to carry pressure, but reassurance. It told her that love did not have to be perfect to endure. It only had to be sincere and protected with care. In those quiet moments, she felt less alone, as if the strength of those who came before her was gently standing at her side. For Dae, the keepsake carried a different yet equally powerful meaning. It reminded him of responsibility, not as a burden, but as a privilege. Whenever disagreements arose, as they inevitably did, he found himself thinking of his parents, his grandparents, and the generations who had held on to the same symbol of unity through far more difficult times. It softened his pride, slowed his anger, and guided him back toward patience. In those moments, he realized that being a husband meant choosing understanding over winning and partnership over ego. There were evenings when Huyen and Dae would sit together, talking quietly about their future. They spoke of dreams, of a warm home filled with laughter, of children who would grow up surrounded by love, of a life built slowly and honestly. Sometimes, without words, one of them would glance toward the keepsake and the other would understand immediately. It had become their shared language, a silent agreement that no matter how complicated life became, they would always return to the values it represented: loyalty, respect, and perseverance. Ba Sam noticed the change in them as well. During her visits, she would smile when she saw where they had placed the keepsake. She never asked questions, never offered more advice. She understood that the gift had already done what it was meant to do. It had taken roots in their hearts, guiding them gently rather than loudly. Seeing Huyen treat it with such care reassured her that her son's future was in safe hands. And seeing Dae grow more thoughtful in his role as a husband brought her a deep, quiet peace. As time passed, the keepsake became more than a reminder of the past. It became a promise for the future. One day, Huyen and Dae knew they would tell its story to their own children. They would speak not only of where it came from, but of what it taught them, that love is something built daily, protected fiercely, and honored through actions rather than words. In that sense, the keepsake was alive, carrying forward the spirit of family from one generation to the next. For Huyen and Dae, it remained the most precious gift they had ever received, not because of what it was, but because of what it represented. It stood quietly in their home, steady and enduring, just like the marriage they were determined to nurture together for a lifetime.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Live Single RV. Vậy là câu chuyện của chúng tôi ngày hôm nay đã kết thúc tại đây. Trong câu chuyện ngày hôm nay đã kể về nội dung rất là đặc biệt. Đó chính là việc mẹ của Đệ, bà Sam đã trở về và bà đã quyết định trao tặng một món kỷ vật của gia đình cho Huyền. món kỷ vật đó đã được hé lộ trong video vừa rồi. Nếu các bạn thấy câu chuyện ngày hôm nay hay, hấp dẫn thì hãy cho mình xin nút like, share và để lại bình luận ở dưới video nhé. Mọi bình luận đóng góp của các bạn sẽ giúp mình cải thiện các nội dung hay hơn nữa về các câu chuyện tiếp theo sẽ được kể trên kênh. Ờ, Vậy là tình cảm của mẹ, của Đệ và Huyền ngày càng được gắn kết hơn. Bà ngày càng có tình cảm nhiều hơn nữa với Huyền, và bà đã chính thức coi Huyền như là con dâu của mình và muốn Huyền và Đệ nhanh chóng kết hôn để bà có thêm cháu bé và bé Mai A có thêm em. Mọi nội dung hấp dẫn về câu chuyện sẽ còn được kể vào các tập tiếp theo. Các bạn hãy bấm vào nút đăng ký kênh, subscribe để nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các tập phim sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh Live Single RV vào lúc 16 giờ Việt Nam nhé. Thanks for watching. Please support my channel. Bye bye everyone. See you soon tomorrow. Bye bye.